Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everybody, wherever you are in the world watching this. It's me, the Gunatokes. Welcome back to the show, people. And today it's going to be a preview of the big game tomorrow, Champions League, Arsenal Bayern Munich. It's a busy week of games. I'm sure you're all still buzzing like I am from the North London derby. And we've still got another couple of massive games to get through this week. But before I get into that, hey, first of all, thank you everybody who subscribed recently and commented and liked and all that lovely stuff. And do more of the same, please. Like, share, subscribe. If you're watching this, just push the like, subscribe. And, you know, you can come back and find me quite easily. More shows like this. All right, let's get into it. Big game tomorrow. Arsenal Bayern Munich, Champions League. Two of the top teams in Europe at the moment. Both of us have been matching each other in terms of results recently, and it's going to be a cracker of a game. We all know the history of us and Bayern Munich. They knocked us out a couple of seasons ago from the Champions League, and yeah, we've had some humiliating results against them, 5-1s and stuff like that. But that ain't happening tomorrow. I'll say that now for nothing. Let me talk a little bit about Bayern Munich first before I get into Arsenal. Obviously, I'm going to be talking about what I think will be our starting lineup and some changes that I expect to happen, really. But first of all, let's talk about Bayern. You know, they're dominating the Bundesliga as usual. It's a bit of a one-horse race over there most of the time. Obviously, Bayer Leverkusen managed to stop Harry Kane from winning his first title in his first season, which was wonderful. But they're a strong team and they've been doing well in the Bundesliga, of course, and also they've been doing really well in the Champions League. Along with us, they're right up at the top. They're just above us, but that's all, you know, apples and oranges at the moment. It's going to be this game will maybe put someone top or maybe it'll be a draw, but I'll talk about my prediction a little bit later. Bayern Munich, they won their last game in the Bundesliga. They won 6-2. They were 2-0 down, actually, first of all, and obviously managed to come back and win that. Harry Kane on the score sheet, Elise bagged a couple, Diaz played in the game, but he can't play against us because he is suspended, which is good news because he's a good player and he's been performing really well for Bayern Munich. He's been one of their better players this season, getting really important goals and scoring some quality goals as well. So glad that he's not in the squad. Glad that, you know, Vincent Kompany is going to have to try and find another option there. And Gnabry's out injured as well, so he's not going to be an option. And Musiala's got a long-term injury as well, so they're missing some key players. But Harry Kane, you know he's going to play in that game. You know he's going to want to do well against us, being an ex-Tottenham. I wonder if he watched the North London derby. I wonder if he was. I think he did. I really think he did. And so it's going to be a blockbuster game. You know, they're scoring goals for fun, but that's really in the Bundesliga. Although they've been winning their games in Europe, they haven't been dominating as they have done in the Bundesliga. But they're a great side. Vincent Kompany, I think, has surprised everybody by how well he's done there, and he's really got them working like a really good team. They play good football, they score good goals, they dominate games, and yeah, it's the Bundesliga, and I expect if Arsenal were in the Bundesliga, I expect us to be right at the top as well. So this is really a big test with two of the most informed teams in Europe at the moment, and it's going to be a great game. I think Bayern Munich, like I said, they've got a few players missing, but they've matched our results recently. They drew their game before the international break 2-2, just like we did. They've won all the Champions League games just like I have. In fact, just like I wish, just like we have. And they've matched us literally. When we've won, they've won. When they drew, we drew. And so it really is, you know, a meeting of two top sides, and something's got to give, right? Something's got to give. We're playing really well at the moment, so we have nothing to fear. Bayern Munich are going to be as worried about playing us as we are about playing them, even more so because we're playing at home. So we've got that home advantage, which is huge in the Champions League. It's going to be big in the game tomorrow. And that atmosphere that we created in the North London derby on Sunday needs to be replicated. Under the lights, Champions League music. This is the time where you need to really step up and show that you deserve to be there. And we do deserve to be there. We've been playing fantastic football. We're a great side. We're strong all over the pitch. We've got great squad depth, which I think Arteta is going to use in in tomorrow's game, because we've got another big game coming up at the weekend against Chelsea, and we've got a lot of players coming back from injury, which is a great thing, because now we have options again, and so it's a wonderful thing for us. And I think this is where Arteta is really going to start to make some changes. So obviously, I'm buzzing, like I said earlier on, still from the North London derby, but it's time to turn our attention to this little game against Bayern Munich. And revenge is what I want. 5-1 I would love, but I just want to beat these lot. I want to beat Bayern for what they've done to us over the years. They did not show any mercy, and Pep was the mastermind of that 5-1, definitely. And I would love to stick it on them in this game. I would love for Harry Kane to, walk out of Emirates Stadium with his tail between his legs, just the way we sent his, beloved Spurs side home the other day. And so a big performance is required. And I really hope that we're able to turn our attentions to the league, and from the league to the Champions League, and focus on that. It's a lot of games. It's a lot of big games, one after the other. And it's time to forget about Spurs. Okay, it was a great result, but it's really just time to move on to the next game and put in a good performance. So what do I really think is going to happen with this game in terms of who's going to start, in terms of how I think the game is going to go? Let's start with the back. Obviously, Raya, for sure, he's going to start. I think the back four is going to be unchanged from against Spurs mostly. The only thing I think might happen is that Skelly might come in for Calafiori. Skelly is really preferred in the European games. It is Bayern Munich, so I'm a little bit wondering whether Calafiori does keep his spot and then the change gets made against Chelsea on Saturday with Miles Lewis-Skelly coming in. But for me, that would be the only change that happens. And Nketiah was phenomenal in that game. Just like I said, he's the guy that is most similar to Gabriel, and I expected him to be able to come in and do just as good a job as Gabriel, pretty much. And that's exactly what he did. I think that guy must have, everybody must have told him about the North London derby, this, that before it. And that guy had like one of the easiest full debuts ever for somebody starting in the Premier League. So he's going to continue alongside Saliba and Timber as well, right back. He was in the interview today with Arteta as well, where Arteta spoke about a few players coming back into the squad. We'll talk about them in a second because they're a little bit further up the pitch. So that's going to be my back five. Raya, Lewis-Skelly, I think, gets the nod, but I wouldn't be surprised if Cala does and Skelly plays against Chelsea. So that's the only thing that might happen. Let's see what Arteta does there. And that's the thing. Now we have more options coming back. It's going to be a little bit harder to know exactly what Arteta's going to do, which is good. It's a good thing because it means that the opposition don't know exactly what Arteta's going to do. If we fans who watch the games week in, week out are not being able to exactly say who starts, great. We know whoever's going to come in is going to do a good job, and it's going to keep the opposition guessing. So not a problem at all. A good problem to have, as they say, right? Rice, Zubi, Standard are going to start in midfield. Eze as well. You don't score a hat-trick in the North London derby and they get benched the next game. That is not gonna happen. Eze is gonna start in that midfield again, and he is gonna be buzzing. He's gonna be ready for this. This is the stage he's meant to shine on. That was just a little appetizer before the main course tomorrow, and then a bit of dessert on Sunday with Chelsea. It's gonna be another opportunity for Eze to show exactly how good he is and to continue stamping his own mark on the team. The team is starting to dance a little bit more to his drum, which is good because it's bringing the best out of him. It was such a fantastic, magical performance against Spurs. I'm so happy for him, so happy for his family, and happy for us as a club that we made this happen, because it was supposed to happen, it was meant to happen, and he's a gooner now. Come on. So that's my midfield. Rice, Zubi, and Eze. And then up front is where things become a little bit maybe more difficult to judge. Merino is going to start because Havertz and Gyökeres are just not quite ready yet, I don't think. Arteta mentioned they might be ready for the weekend. That would be great. Maybe he's doing some mind games and one of them is going to be ready, but they were nowhere near the bench against Spurs. So I don't think they're going to be anywhere near the starting 11 tomorrow. But hey, would be wonderful to see one or two of them in the squad, on the bench. That would be great. But I think Mourinho's going to get that centre forward spot, and Saka, of course, is going to play on the right. So it's the left. It's the left that I've been pondering, because Trossard has played a lot of games, and he's a big game player, no problem. I would have no problem with Trossard starting. Trossard tends not to start in Europe, and I think that's a good thing because it's keeping him fresh for the league, which is great. So if he comes out of the team, which I think will probably happen, then who comes in? Because Martinelli was on the bench against Spurs, and so was Madueke. And Madueke is the one that came on. So that's the reason why I'm thinking Madueke might get the nod, but could it be a little bit imbalanced with him on the left-hand side? He does prefer to play on the right, but he's such a direct player that I just think he would cause so many problems to Bayern Munich. I mean, Bayern have a good defense. Upamecano plays for them, and he's obviously a solid defender. But I think we could really get at them if we were direct and just driving at them, especially if you have it happening from both sides, because Saka looked really good. He didn't get, enough praise, I think, for his performance on Sunday against Spurs, but that right-hand side was just buzzing all game, and allowed us to get control, allowed us to get overloads in certain positions, and Saka is just such a wonderful player. So will that be something that Arteta tries? Madueke on one side, Saka on the other. It really would give Bayern something to think about, because Elise is going to be playing for them, and he's going to be trying to do the same thing. Kane is going to be doing his role, probably dropping a little bit, back in midfield as he needs to. So we're going to need to have, I think, a couple of fast options, which is why Martinelli, or Madueke are really the ones I think are going to start. And because Madueke came on, I wouldn't be surprised to see him get the nod against Bayern Munich. I think it would be a great game for him to come back in. So that's what I'm thinking for the squad. I wouldn't be surprised if Arteta throws in one or two more curve balls, because now he's got a few more options. Ødegaard, I think, is back in the squad pretty much, so I expect him to be on the bench. I don't think they're going to replace Eze with Ødegaard just now, with Eze being on top form. Arteta really likes to take advantage of that. When a player's in that like flow state, when, they're on fire. Those of you who played NBA Jam back in the day and stuff, you got to take advantage of that. And so keep playing Eze. Keep allowing him to set his stamp on the team. Keep allowing him to, bed in more and really have a chance to show what he can do. We got Elise and Eze, two ex-Palace boys who've gone on to bigger clubs and have both done incredibly well. They're performing to a high level, and it's going to be a really interesting, side story to the whole thing that's going on. But it's going to be a tough game. Bayern they're no walk in the park. They're no mugs, but as much as they have been scoring goals, they have been leaking goals. They've had to come from behind in a few games. They've needed to score those goals to get them out of trouble, whereas we don't concede many goals. Okay, we conceded to Richarlison, bit of a silly mistake by Zubi. I mentioned it in my review. And then, okay, we had that 2-2 draw with Sunderland. But on the whole, we don't concede a lot of goals. And okay, they've got a lot of attacking talent, but we've got a phenomenal defense. So I don't see them scoring many goals against us. It's going to be a tough game, but to be fair, I can see them scoring. I can see them getting a goal. Kane might get his obligatory one. I think we're going to have to try to keep Elise quiet. So that's going to be interesting on how we defend down the wings and stuff like that. But it's going to be I think an opportunity for us to stretch our legs, get our attackers flowing, and like I said, take advantage of where Eze is in this particular moment in time. He's on cloud 9, so utilize that. And I'm going to say 2-1 against Bayern. I'm going to say 2-1. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think we're going to edge it for sure. I expect us to score first. And hopefully, we score 2 before they have a chance to score 1. But I think it's going to be a tight game, 2-1. I can see us winning, but, I'm no idiot. Bayern are no mugs. They're a strong side, and this is probably the battle of the Champions League so far. You could see this being in the final. So again, will both teams really want to, give too much away so early on? It doesn't matter who wins or loses ultimately, because whoever, if anyone loses, they're still going to be pretty high up in the table, and I still would expect them to finish in the top 8. So that's why I don't know if it's going to be such an open game, but it's going to be intense. That's the thing. It's going to be blockbuster intense in that way. You know, the intensity of two top teams going at it and not wanting to give too much away. So it's going to be interesting. Company has surprised me. I think, like I said before, he surprised a lot of people, but fair play to him. And now we're going to see Company versus Arteta. It's going to be a good game. So why don't you drop me a comment? Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think the score is going to be. Who do you think is going to make a difference? Who do you think is going to start? EZE, do you expect him to keep scoring? I think he might get another one. I think he's got a few goals in him at the moment. He's in a bit of a purple patch. So that's what I think is going to happen. It's going to be a huge game tomorrow. I'll be doing my match reaction after that. So don't forget to come back and join me for that. And hopefully we're able to celebrate another win together. It's been a fantastic week. We've got to keep this momentum going so that we can go into Chelsea on Sunday with full confidence. So 2-1, that's my prediction. Yo, Bayern, you don't come to our house and mess around. That's the old days, yeah? That's all done. You come here and you behave respectfully like a guest and you leave with nothing, with your pockets empty. We're going to be keeping the 3 points at home. So come on, Arsenal. Big game tomorrow. Hey, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, send me those comments, and I'll see you soon. Have a great evening, everyone. Take it easy. Bye.